This morning, 8 grieving families and countless communities reeling after Tuesday night's deadly shooting spree in Georgia.
We just heard numerous gunshots.
Authorities have not ruled out whether the crimes were racially motivated, but the shooter has denied race being a factor.
Whether it's explicitly called a hate incident is irrelevant. 6 of the 8 people murdered were Asian American. 7 of 8 were women. This man targeted places where Asian Americans were working.
Actor and activist Daniel Day Kim will be testifying later this morning before the House Judiciary Panel on discrimination and violence against Asian Americans during COVID.
I'm going to talk about our history here and how we are American and how we are at a crucial point where our government can decide to see us or invisibilize us. And what will it be?
I know you've had conversations with your parents as well about their safety. What are you telling them?
This is happening to our elderly and to Asian women. This is what's heartbreaking to me. Many of us are not born here, so we don't take it for granted. And to see, people like my parents who have given their lives to this country and to see that this is the reward for their hard work, for putting their heads down and believing in the American dream is hard.
It comes in a year where China was closely linked to the spread of the coronavirus.
The China virus.
While Asian Americans did not bring coronavirus to the U.S., they have been a frequent target. A new report from Stop AAPI Hate shows over the past 12 months, nearly 4,000 anti-Asian incidents were reported from all 50 states. 68% were verbal assaults, 11% physical attacks. Women reported twice as many incidents as men.
We need to recognize that we are in a collective trauma experience.
Dr. Jenny Wang is a clinical psychologist.
What can we do right now to help cope?
We are in what's called a stress response cycle. We need to engage with the people we love. We need to embrace them. We need them to hold us because that is a way that our body re-regulates and says, I'm still safe in the midst of this chaotic world.
Dr. Wang, my friend's daughter, who is 9 years old, said to her, Mom, why do they hate us? Why do they hate Asians? How do you respond to a child that young, and how do you provide comfort?
I think when we talk to children about what's going on currently, or even just broadly about racism, I think one of the most important things we need to emphasize is safety, that you are safe.
In addition to Kim, a growing list of celebrities like LeBron James, Ellen DeGeneres, and Wanda Sykes speaking out against violence towards Asian Americans.
There are more of us who do care. And I think those people are in the African American community, the Latinx community, the white community, and the Asian community. But I really do believe we are stronger together.
Shalom, shalom to the house of Israel, to the house of Yashrael, to the hopeful elect. Peace and blessings. And is the things that are happening with that whole this whole Asian attack and this whole violence against Asians, it's it's reminiscent of that movie Trading Places. That movie Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. Where they're literally switched around in their respective positions in life because the so-called Asian American attacks that are being aligned or even elevated above the plight of the Hebrew here in Babylon. That's exactly what's happening. We're swapping positions, right? And on the national front, in the mainstream media, the Asian American attacks are being aligned or even elevated above what's been happening to our people day after day, year after year. And, Jake is being pushed to the bottom, to the very bottom, even in the category of oppression. Okay, Jake has got to be at the bottom of that as well. Okay, and that's happening and being orchestrated by the mainstream, liberal, Chinese Communist Party controlled media. Because believe it or not, the CCP or the Chinese Communist Party, they have infiltrated mainstream news, right? And what we're going to see is that infiltration be used to garner empathy for Asians, so-called Asians in this country. And underneath that empathy, you're going to see the CCP begin to snatch up more land in the United States, to be able to purchase more real estate in the United States, to be able to push more socialist and communist agendas in the United States, all underneath the guise of empathy. I mean, you think back to it, what happened in Germany was bankrolled by the Rothschild family. All right, they funded the Nazi regime, the Gestapo police, right? They sacrificed and put their own people on the slab for what they saw was the greater good. Let's go ahead and put our own people through the fire, send them to the concentration camps and have all these things happen to them so that we can garner the empathy. And then when we want to take Palestine, there's not going to be any questions. Hey, listen, we have to take Palestine because you see what happened to us in Germany. We need to go back to our quote unquote homeland. All right. We know that, they have that land is not theirs, but it's the same play that's being used by the Chinese Communist Party here in the United States. And we're seeing it with these Asian attacks, right? At least that's my belief. That's what the spirit is showing me, right? Because right now they're saying, hey, no place for hate. We stand with Black lives, and we're in this together. But Asians weren't with us when we were on the plantations. Did they come together with us there? Did Asians come together with us during the period of Reconstruction? Right, where our lives were literally on the line? Were Asians rallying down to Tulsa, Oklahoma, to Black Wall Street to come together with us and help us rebuild our businesses? No, that didn't happen. Did Asians come to our rescue and come and rally behind us and say, hey, stop the lynchings that were happening in the South? Nope. Right? When these things start happening to them, everyone wants to come together with the so-called Black man for help. For those of you that are old enough, when you think back to 9/11, right, and the September 11th attacks, here in my city, we have a high Chaldean Arab population, and I mean they would treat us like trash, going into their gas stations and into their liquor stores. Hurry up and buy and get the hell out. After 9/11, it turned into hurry up and buy and get the hell out to my brother, my buddy, my buddy. That's how it always happens. So we have to be careful what we align ourselves with, Israel, okay? Because no one has had a plight like yours. Let's take it to the scriptures. Let's go to Daniel, the book of Daniel, chapter 9, verse 11 through 12. Daniel 9, 11 through 12. Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of the Most High, because we have sinned against him, and he has confirmed his words which he spake against us and against our judges, and that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven hath not been done as has been done upon Jerusalem. Okay? All right? Under the whole of heaven, what's happened to our people, there's never been anything like it happening, right? So although it's for our own sin, our own transgressions, our own breaking of the covenant, there has not been anything done to any other nation as was done to Yasharallah. There's no comparison. No nations have had the curses to contend with, okay? Have had their culture stripped from them, or their heritage, their language, their spirituality, okay? Families broken up, right? Yet the LGBTQ, the white women, Asians now, midgets, you name it. All right, they're aligning themselves with Black Lives Matter in order to siphon energy from basically the deaths of Black men. It was the deaths of Black men. I'm not saying the sisters didn't get hurt as well, but namely the Black man that was strung up on those trees and on those light poles that the song Strange Fruit was written about. Okay? And the strides that we made in this country, the gains that we have gotten, right, was spurned right? The genesis of those games was what was happening to the so-called black man. Okay. Now everybody wants a piece of that pie, that woke pie. Okay. Let's go to Ezekiel 5, 8 through 10. Ezekiel 5, 8 through 10. Therefore, thus saith the Almighty Power, behold, I, even I, am against thee, and will execute judgments in the midst of thee, in the sight of the nations. Okay. And will do in thee that which I have not done, and whereunto I will not do any more the like, because of all the abominations. Therefore the father shall eat the sons in the midst of thee, and the sons shall eat their fathers, and I will execute judgments in thee, and the whole remnant of thee I will scatter into the winds. Right? So these punishments, as descriptive as they are, as vivid as they are for the children of Israel only. All right? You know, there's two meanings here to the eating of the sons and the eating of the fathers. I'll take on the physical meaning right now. I mean, literally, there was famine and sieges taking place in our land when these armies were coming against us. And yeah, our people were eating their own children, right? Eating the elderly. There's no food that can come in. Okay. Our time of chastisement equates to the other nations' times of peace and prosperity. Okay. Most High said he's executing judgments in the sight of the nations. So Asians, they saw what happened to us. They saw what was happening to us in this country and the punishments we was getting. Did they come and rally behind us? Nah, man, that didn't happen. So you Jakes better be mindful of who you align yourself with. All right? And take care of home base first. Let's go to Amos 3 and 2. The book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 2. Oldie but goodie. Amos 3 and 2. You only have I known in all the families of the earth, therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. So, just as a father is concerned primarily with the upbringing of his own children, so is the Most High concerned with us and us only. So he only chastens whom he loves. Right. So does the Most High, does he love the Asians now seemingly because they're being assailed? No, that's not the case. No. As the elites, right, the Chinese Communist Party, the Rothschild banking dynasty, as the elites pull Asians and Hispanics ahead of blacks in terms of minority hierarchy to further oppress Jake, the Most High is using this same effort as a season for recompense, right? Some of you may remember back in 1992 during the Rodney King riots, that same month there was a young black girl, 15 years old, shot in a liquor store by a Korean American because she thought that the girl was stealing from her. That woman never served any jail time. Shot her in the back, man. So all nations have had a part in the rebuke and the torment of Jacob, man. So all nations are going to have to reap what's coming to them. All right. That's just how that goes. This is how the Most High work. Let's go to 2nd Ezra. The book of 2nd Ezra in the Apocrypha, chapter 6, verse 54 through 57. 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, 54 through 57. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest, Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people which also come from Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing but be like unto spittle, and hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. Not my words, that's the words of the Most High. Okay? The Most High has reputed the other nations to be nothing in his sight. Okay? They are the beasts of the field that Adam ruled over. Okay? That's a whole nother lesson. All right? Created for our pleasure, our sustenance, etc. Right? Because Yashar Allah, you're standing in the stead of Adam, right? You have the laws, statutes, and commandments, and you're ruling. You're supposed to be ruling over the other nations. You're in a low state right now. You fell like Adam fell. You're being punished like Adam's being punished, but you're going to be resurrected and raised up. This is the birthright blessing that was passed down, right, from Adam to Seth to Methuselah to Enoch to Noah to Shem to Eber to Abraham to Isaac to Jacob, right? That world dominance, that's what's been passed down to us. That's the birthright blessing, okay? But the Most High is not seeing the other nations. He's not dealing with the other nations, right? So there's no equity between our punishment and what they're getting, and there's no equity between our reward and what they're going to be getting, all right? Let's go to 2nd Ezra. Let's stay in 2nd Ezra, I should say, and let's go to chapter 2. The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 2, verse 27 through 28. Be not weary, for when the day of trouble and heaviness cometh, others shall weep and be sorrowful, but thou shalt be merry and have abundance. The heathen shall envy thee, but they shall be able to do nothing against thee, saith the Most High. Check this out. This is that same moment that we're in right now. The heathen, they envy our resilience. They envy our will to fight. They even envy our plight. Okay? Because everyone loves the story of an underdog. Everyone loves the story of an underdog. We are that story, and now the Asians, via the Chinese Communist Party and the international bankers, they want to use the woke movement to siphon the gains you've made, black man, via your deaths and struggles from Jim Crow up until today. The heathen shall envy thee. All right. It says here in verse 27. Okay. For when the day of trouble and heaviness cometh, others shall weep. This message here in 2nd Ezra is to who? To Israel. Others shall weep. Other who? Other nations shall weep and be sorrowful. But thou, Israel, shalt be merry and have abundance. Yo, we may not be, we're happy. We're happy about these types of things. We don't have abundance necessarily in physical and financial goods, but we have abundance in this truth. So we ought to be happy and be merry that we're seeing these prophecies come to pass. Okay, they're sorrowful, but we're merry and we have abundance, man. We're happy. We have the fullness of the truth. We have wisdom, knowledge, understanding of the commandments, our heritage back, our understanding of who we are back. All right. And now we're going to sit back and let the Most High do his thing with these other nations and level the playing field and then level up Yashar Allah above all. Okay. The heathen shall envy thee, but they shall be able to do nothing against thee. Okay. Let's go to Lamentations. Don't want to do nothing too long here. Just a couple more scriptures. Let's go to Lamentations chapter 4, verse 6. And it reads, for the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people is greater than the punishment of the sin of Sodom that was overthrown as in a moment, and no hands stayed on her. Okay, so our punishment is greater than Sodom, in that Sodom was destroyed in an instant. Okay, Sodom was blown to smithereens in an instant when the angel sent down that fire. Our punishment for transgressing the covenant is continual and is at the hands of men, at the hands of other nations. It's been a continual ass whooping since we've been committing sin and transgression against the Most High. Sodom got off light. Okay, sin against the Most High, one and done, destroyed the whole thing. Us, no, dragged out. Okay, but with great power comes great responsibility. So, and that great responsibility comes with great punishment if you don't execute that responsibility. So we're not on the same level as these other nations. You can't put us together. Okay, I saw one article that said, how can blacks come together and help Asians through this time? Why? They're big boys and girls. They own all the man. Sometimes they own the gas stations. They own liquor stores. Here where I'm at, They own all the hair supply chains, the hair supply stores, beauty supply stores. They got the money, they got the resources, and more than that, they've got homelands to go back to. Okay, they got embassies set up over here. They can go back to Laos. They can go back to Vietnam. They can go back to Thailand. They can go back to North and South Korea. They can go back to China. They can go back to Japan. They can go back to these different countries that they came from, the Pacific Islands. They can go back. They can go back. They got a home base. They have their own culture. They have their family structure, their culture, their history, and they have a homeland to go to. Vietnam will step up and say, hey, you're mistreating our people. What's going on over there? China will step up and say, you're mistreating our people. What's going on over there? Laos, Thailand, the Philippines. Hey, what's going on with our people over there, United States? Jacob, you don't have that. No one has your back, man. So don't get caught up in this woke dream of us all coming together. They're big boys and girls. Let them take care of themselves. You got to take care of yourself. Starting with what? Starting with the so-called black man repenting, bowing himself down, humbling himself down, coming back to his culture, coming back to his almighty power, repenting and living a righteous life, getting his mind right. Then what? Then correcting and regulating his woman and keeping her in line and being a good steward over his household. That's what he needs to do first. Before he even comes together with another brother, he needs to do that first for himself. Then he can come together with other brothers, and that's how we build up. But we can't be sitting up here jumping up in everyone else's mix, man. Some Asians get, shot or get punched in the face and all this other stuff, and then we want to march with them. No, man. They haven't been through the same things we've been through, and they've got more resources than we have, namely their own land to go back to. Okay? Which when this place is destroyed, even before this place comes out, you're going to see a lot of that. A lot of these different nations going back to their own land. Okay? Pursuant to the scriptures. Last scripture, Isaiah 14, 1 and 2, oldie but goodie. For the Almighty will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them. The strangers shall be joined with them. And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. They shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Pay attention to those words. Join, cleave. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Most High for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. And they shall rule over their oppressors. So the nations, the strangers, they're cleaving to Jacob. Okay? You so-called blacks, you Israelites out there, you so-called Negroes, all right? It's the energy of the Most High that they're cleaving to. The energy of the truth. That's what they see in you. But the truth is like fire. Fire attracts, but it also repels. So the Most High, you can see that he's setting a trap. The strangers are cleaving and being prepped for servitude and submission to Jacob. That's going to be the end game. Okay? Be occupied in prophecy. Keep your mind steadfast on righteousness. Wait and see the salvation of the Most High. Peace and blessings. Shalom.